Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Let me just first apologize to you for our late start this morning and welcome you to the PNCR weekly press conference. The party statement today will be read by Mr. Greenidge, who is a central executive member of the PNCR. Mr. Greenidge.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. William. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is the statement on behalf of the People's National Congress Reform. The theme is that we are moving in the right direction. Guyana is on the right path. The United Nations Program, in its 2019 report on human development, states that human development in Guyana has improved with more and more Guyanese having greater access to education, potable water, and health care. The People's National Congress Reform wishes to applaud President David Granger and the APNU-AFC government for putting Guyanese first and giving them a better life. Coupled with the foregoing, Guyana has made progress in foreign policy and diplomacy as it's manifested by the election of Guyana to the chairmanship of the prestigious Group of 77 in China. Again, congratulations are extended to the APNU-AFC government. Guyana continues to be politically stable and a good place to do business, notwithstanding the attempts of the opposition, the People's Progressive Party, to create instability. The Guyanese people are sensible. They are aware that they are getting a better life under the APNU-AFC. The business community knows that this government has created and will continue to maintain an environment that is conducive to legal business. The affairs of state are being properly and transparently managed by the APNU-AFC government. Under the leadership of President David Granger, our country is in safe and stable hands. The PNC is therefore convinced that the people of Guyana will return the APNU-AFC to government. The PNC is proud of the safe and stable business environment that has been created since the APNU-AFC assumed office in May 2015. The manufacturing and service sectors have made significant contributions to national development. These two sectors combined constituted more than 60% of our gross domestic product in 2018. These sectors have expanded the economy over the past 4 years, and we applaud them. The PNCR calls attention to the fact that our economy is growing. The economic growth for the first half of 2019 was 4%, and it is anticipated that national output will increase by 4.5% by the end of the year. No amount of fake news or hand-wringing by the PPP can change that. Under the Granger administration, tax policies have been tailored to incentivize competitiveness. The corporate tax rate was reduced from 30% to 25%, and tax waivers were provided for green energy investment. Opposition parties are entitled to their own opinions, but not their own facts, and the facts are: the manufacturing sector in Guyana expanded by 3.6% in the first half of 2019. It is anticipated to record an annual growth rate this year of 3.7%. The service sector is estimated to have grown by 4.6% between January and June of 2019, the highest rate of growth since 2011. Trade, that is wholesale and retail, grew by 5.9%. Transportation and storage by 5.5%. Financial and insurance transactions grew by 4.1%. Rental of dwellings grew by 5.9%, and other services by 10%. Private sector credit increased by 5.7% for the first half of 2019 compared with the same period last year. Credit to the mining sector and the quarrying sector increased by 6%. Credit to the manufacturing sector increased by 0.5%, and credit to the services sector increased by 7.2%. These are facts that as a party, the PNCR is justly proud. This type of progress does not take place in a vacuum. They are directly related to our policies and the political stability that currently exists. In pursuit of the good life, the AP and UFC government is rebalancing the economy so that it becomes more competitive and resilient. Our economy is being prepared and primed for rapid growth. PNCR, along with our coalition partners, is looking forward to the future. Dareen is entering a new phase of economic development. The advent of petroleum production in the coming weeks will result in sustained expansion of the economy. The revenues from this new sector will be substantial, and as a nation, we must be vigilant. Elections have consequences. In 2015, the PDP was removed from office because after 23 years, they had accumulated an unenviable record of scandal, dishonest practices, corruption, and human rights abuses. It is a fact that while in office, assets acquired by senior PDP government officials and corrupt business people bore no relationship to their incomes and earnings. One only has to look at the mansion that Surfan Ali built after just 1 year in government. We are not going back to those days of one-party rule, where there was no transparency, no accountability, and the public treasury was used as a private purse. We are moving in the right direction. Guyanese can trust President Granger. Our petroleum revenues under the leadership of President Granger will be prudently managed to ensure sustained benefits to all Guyanese and all sectors of the economy. Let's keep moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Greenidge. We will now entertain questions from you, the member of the media. I know you all are experienced, and you will know the normal protocol that you will state your name and which media house you represent before you ask the question. Thank you very much. We will now entertain questions.
Greenidge, I am Morton, Capital News. Sir, yesterday we had the opposition leader, Mr. Barjak, saying that once his party is elected to office, that they will be repealing the Natural Resources Fund Act, even if this act was passed after the no confidence motion. Would you like to comment on that statement, sir?
I didn't hear the latter part of the question. Just the latter part.
Mr. Jagio said that once his party is elected to office at the next election, that they will be repealing the Natural Resources Fund Act, given that the act was passed after the no confidence motion.
Well, if Mr. Jagdo is lucky enough to win the election, he would be entitled to do whatsoever he wishes as regards the passage of legislation and laws. That is the right of a government. If it is only because the legislation was passed on the after December of 2018, that would, I believe, be an unfortunate waste of parliamentary time. We would hope that any government, in dealing with legislation, would deal with the substance of the issue. The intent of this legislation is to ensure that resources collected from the petroleum sector are directed to an account, and that withdrawals from that account are approved by a known agency, those charged by statute with authorizing withdrawals from the fund. And those withdrawals should be in accordance with the priorities that the people of Guyana have made. That is the intent of the fund, and I believe that as a general principle, Mr. Jagdio and the PDP have stated no objection to that approach. So if he wants to speak about passing legislation for the sake of showing that it is a different party at the helm, he has that right, but I don't know whether we would regard that as a good use of our resources, time, or parliamentary resources.
Samuels and the news source. I'd like to make reference to Mr. Jacknew's press conference yesterday. He is contending still that there is a shakeup at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with regards to his diplomats. He is claiming too that the shakeup is based on policy direction that was changed based on Guyana's sovereignty. Could you address that matter? I know the President has addressed it to some extent, but only recently after the President addressed it, Mr. Jacknew spoke with this.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to fix a statement on which the President has already pronounced. I would like to leave it to him to remedy or to clarify if any clarification is needed. So if you think that it needs to be clarified next time you see, you can raise that with him. I don't want to add anything to what he said. Thank you.
This is also on some further clarifications on the President's statements with the recall of the ambassadors and the High Commission. What exactly is the Ministry's plan on having these persons return? Will they be integrated back into the Ministry, or they'll be out of the Foreign Service completely?
I'm not in a position to answer that question. What I can say to you is that some of the ambassadors, well, all of those ambassadors who will have received letters from Minister Cummings are likely to be not returning to the ministry, let me put it that way, simply because they will no longer be members of staff of the ministry. Some of them have contracts, they work on the basis of contracts. And I'm trying to recall, but I don't think any of them currently are engaged other than on contracts. So unless they are offered something by the ministry, they can be expected to find other opportunities, find other jobs, or what have you. But that probably is a question that can be definitively answered by Minister Cummings and the President.
Sir, I know as I'm working here again, while you were Minister of Foreign Affairs, I know you would raise some concerns in relation to the Foreign Service not having the requisite skills such as accountants and so on. Does the ministry now have those skill sets that they can adequately staff overseas missions? And also in relation to the bringing back of officers, will we see accountants and other skill sets who were sent to these missions within the last 3-4 years be coming back and replaced with other officers of a similar skill set?
Well, I'm not sure why you've isolated accountants, although that is a category in which the ministry is.
It's not an isolation category. It's just
an example. Yes, okay. But if I were to be asked about the skill mix within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I would say to you that we are really referring to the acute shortage is not at the level so much of supporting admin skills, but in the arena that constitutes the heart of diplomatic work or diplomacy. And this would be in strategic issues, political science, economics, international law, environmental sciences, and I don't mean environmental studies, environmental sciences, and a variety of these technical areas. And you can get an idea of what we may be missing by looking, for example, at the issues which are debated at the UN, okay, at the issues that arise at the level of CARIFORUM, ACP group, and the like. It is a range of skills, and at the point I have been making for a long time is that the intake of skills into the ministry, as governed by the work of the Public Service Commission and the Public Service Ministry, is overwhelmingly of people simply with degrees in international relations. That is one area, and perhaps not even the most important area of skills needed by the ministry. And for reasons that I don't want to go into now, we have been struggling to command those skills. In the last batch that came of 18, one person had a language capacity, one person. Grade point averages ranged into areas that one would not normally want to entertain within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the like. So these are the sorts of problems that have to be addressed. If we're dealing with skills, range of skills, and need to ensure that they are recruited. They can't all be met by training, but a training program is going in relation to Mandarin, Spanish, Portuguese, for example. But there's only so much you can do within such a framework. As regards the question of whether those skills are now in abundance, the answer is no. The economy in general is challenged by shortages of skills, and in this particular area, you will find that it will take some years to plug those gaps, especially if you lose people that have those skills already and are experienced in those areas.
As it relates to the Ghana, Venezuela matter at the International Court of Justice, are there any updates that you can provide us at this time in terms of Ghana's preparations for the case?
The court has indicated to the two parties that there will be an oral hearing beginning on March 23rd of 2020, and the two parties were supposed to have submitted a response to that, meaning that if they intend to be participating in the exercise, they would have had to notify the registrar of the court by the 20th of November. As far as I'm aware, that has not been done by the representatives of Venezuela, and therefore, for purposes of the oral hearings, I believe only Guyana will be participating. We are, for our part, in the process of working on this exercise. We've been meeting, working on documentation, discussing with the lawyers since February of 2019. There was a meeting with the lawyers again in October of this year, and in between those meetings, there have been meetings of the, if you like, the domestic team, that is the team without the foreign lawyers, and there will be at least 2 other meetings at the technical level before March 23rd. So it is a process that is a train, consulting with, finding documentation, examining the propose presentations and so forth. That is well and trained, and I'm quite satisfied that we're making progress there. As a matter of fact, the domestic team met as recently as yesterday.
And how much money have been expended so far?
Well, in truth, I can't tell you, not because it is a secret, but because I didn't check what has happened. What normally happens is that the expenses arise from a variety of things. The lawyers have to be paid. There are consultants of various types who work with us from time to time on the preparation of specific documents. Stuff has to be copied, it has to be secured from international sources and so forth. So at a specific point in time, as of now, I can't give you an answer to that. We have not exhausted the funds that were agreed by the cabinet to be earmarked for this purpose. We haven't exhausted that yet.
So you don't have not even an estimation?
No, you would have to, and I would have had to. Perhaps the closest estimate would be to have a look at what we did give to you at the time of the budget, which I don't remember. I can send that to you afterwards if you like.
Mr. Greenidge, Channel after 19 years. Just a quick follow-up. I just needed to ask whether we still have our ambassador to Caracas, Ms. Channel.
Whether we still have her?
Yeah, but she's still in Caracas.
Well, ambassadors who are resident in a particular place may be moving up and down from that place at any point in time. I can't tell you exactly where she is now. If you mean whether her contract has also been terminated, the answer is yes, it has been terminated. So she has been instructed to wrap up by the end of December.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. If there's no further question, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Thank you, Mr. President.
Sorry.